When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Hi.
Hi, Dave. We're back. We're here.
We are.
Another week, another episode.
Mm-hmm.
A returning guest, even.
Yeah.
So,
always exciting.
Yeah, this is always exciting. One of our favorite people to have on the show. Like, no shade on our other guests, but we always have a great time when this week's guest joins us.
An all-timer to talk to in person too. The person I went to WrestleCon specifically to go see.
Yeah, you could have just driven 20 minutes over a couple highways, but instead drove 2.5
hours to Philadelphia.
So, as we don't like to bury the lead here, to say that this week's guest caught lightning in a bottle would be unfair to the work that's been done here. Seriously, strategic signings, amazing design talent being put to great use, and the marketing prowess of the internet champion at his side, Kanik and the Major Bendies brand has grown from a novelty to a true competitor in the retro wrestling figure market. With 2 successful lines across 2 scales and their latest wave available to pre-order now, we are happy to welcome back our friend Michael Kanik to the show. Welcome back to Adventures in Collecting, Kanik. It's been a while. We're happy to have you back, buddy.
What a fucking intro. I want you to come with me everywhere I go and just say that before I walk into a room. And then just have like that slow motion from like a teenage movie from like the 90s or early 2000s. And I just walk in a slow motion.
There you go.
Like A Knight's Tale.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'll be your bard anywhere you go, buddy. I'm happy. I'm happy to be the Chaucer to your knight. No, but seriously, it's been amazing watching the brand grow. Last time we had you on, it was you were kind of just getting things going, getting kind of the train out the station, and now it's full speed ahead. So it's been an absolute blast. Watching the brand develop. All the signings, everything. Well, we'll get into it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate all that.
But yeah, it's awesome.
It's been a fun journey, and like you guys, just wrestling fans, figure collectors, like I'm living out everyone's dream, and I don't take it for granted every day. It's just waking up, working 20 hours a day, and it just doesn't seem like if it's 20 hours, it seems like it's like 2 hours, because by the snap of it, I just realized I spent the whole day working on Eddie Guerrero figures or whatever. So I'm truly grateful, and I appreciate all the support.
Well, aside from collecting giant rolls of bubble wrap in your closet and pallets in your driveway, before we dive into Major Bendies and Big Rubber Guys, give us an update on your personal collection. What are you picking up these days, and what are some of your recent pickups?
Yeah, so recent pickups. I am focusing on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, a lot of the 90s stuff. So let's see. I recently bought a mock in-box sealed Dragon Zord and Megazord, Dragon
Nice.
Dagger, I got all the 8-inch figures sealed and opened. I don't know if I had this last time I was on. I don't know when I got it, but I completed the Automorphin 8-inch. I mean not 8-inch, 5-inch uh figures, the flip heads. Have
Oh,
all
very cool.
those
Yeah, that's awesome.
sealed. I had them all sealed and signed, and then I also did the movie edition. So
Nice.
Very cool.
I had a Tommy signed the Green Ranger one, but I had to hunt down for the White Ranger signed. So
Yeah.
that was a little pricey, but childhood hero, a guy who I legit have on my arm.
Yeah, I love that
Uh,
tattoo.
it's my
I say
favorite action.
definitely worth it.
Yeah, it was like my favorite action figure. I got to work with the guy a little bit. I actually texted him the day he passed. I actually texted him about joining Major Bendies.
Aw.
And I was like, fuck, this guy didn't respond. Was I being an asshole? And then the next day, I wake up to the news and I'm like, no. Like,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
horrible.
that was a bummer.
And to remind our listeners from the last time you were on, in a prior life, you worked with him on a comic cover, right? You were worked with him for an exclusive variant cover, right?
Yeah. Boom Studios Power Rangers issue number 5, I believe it is. I like to say I may have came up with the idea for Lord Draken early on, because the cover is Tommy Oliver on the front, and half of him is in his Green Ranger getup, and the other half is in his White Ranger getup. So it's as if both worlds collided, which is basically Lord Draken. But yeah, what else am I collecting? I'm always collecting Black Series figures. I get those signed as well, so I'm um, I'm fortunate to be traveling to all these cool conventions now with the guys, and whenever there's a Star Wars guy on the show, I see if their Black Series is easily obtainable, and I get it signed. So much so, if you can look, I have a couch, and I don't even have a place to to hang them anymore. I just leave them stacked on top of the couch. And like
Don't
all
worry,
wrestling
listeners.
fans.
They're in Defenders. The figures are in
Yeah.
Defenders.
Oh
They're
yeah,
not
yeah,
like
yeah.
loosely stacked there.
What's that? Oh, what's that line in Mallrats? Put some bag and board. These comics belong in bags and boards. You savage or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a Dave.
Yeah, that's
That's a Dave line.
as far as I can remember. That's if it's not right, it's close enough.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it's basically
awesome.
the same thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, and retro figures like everyone else in the wrestling world right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So a lot's happened believe it or not, 16 months since you've been on last. Big
wow.
Rubber Guys is launched. What led from kind of
Uh.
continuing on from the Bendies to LJN style figures?
So I came up with the idea for Major Bendies being drunk off of Bourbon County on I think it was like Christmas Day or Thanksgiving Day, one of those days. And basically the same thing happened with Big Rubber Guys. I was drunk out of my mind. May have ate an edible. Talking to my brother, and my brother is a big LJN collector. He has a complete collection, loose and mock. And now he rides my coattails while I'm riding Matt and Brian's coattails. He comes to the conventions with me and tries to get all these figures signed for free. He doesn't want to pay Honky Tonk Man the $200 that he asked for an LJN figure signed. And the great part is everyone finds out that he's my brother and they just do it for him for free.
This guy works with Gordon Ramsay once, and now he just thinks he can walk around.
Yeah.
He better get Gordon Ramsay a Major Bendy. That's the one I want to see.
Yeah.
Chef coat.
Yeah. And for those who who are listening to this and saying, Gordon Ramsay, what the fuck does he have to do with wrestling? My oldest brother, the guy who's riding my coattails, is season 1 winner of Gordon Ramsay's Food Stars. But that means nothing because he had to go on a reality TV show to get partnered up with a leader in the industry. All I had to do was text 2 guys. Drunk too. So yeah, I was just talking to my brother, just drunk, and he was like, these bendies are really cool. Why don't you just do the same thing, just bigger and remove the wire in the inside, and you have LJNs. And it was like, oh, well, that seems simple. I can do that. Pitched it to Matt and Brian. Brian was all on board. Matt was totally against it. And I remind him every day about it now. No shame.
Well, he probably wouldn't have it any other way. Let's be real.
That's,
if it was the other way around, he would do it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%.
I feel like busting chops is like, rule number 1.
Yeah.
With the major pod crew.
Yeah, we have multiple group chats, and most of them is just everyone busting Matt's balls. He just makes it very easy. It's very unfair. But yeah, so finally it was just like I kept on bringing it up, and they kept on saying, let's wait, and I was like, I finally just said, hey guys, we either do this together or I'm doing it on my own, because I want to be the first person to do it before someone else does it. And Matt goes, go get us a prototype and let's see it. Because his concern was, is it going to be true to the LJN style?
Yeah, which has been difficult. A lot of people have tried, and they have not been able to do it. And big names.
Jackson Jazzwares.
Yeah.
Jax, Jazzwares. LJN came back for a while and tried to do it, and they even failed. Yeah, so, but I got him a prototype within probably 2 weeks, and, once he held the prototype, it wasn't accurate. We probably went through, I forgot how many prototypes. It was a lot. And he just basically said, all right, this is the closest thing to an LJN. It's not accurate, but we have something here. Let's continue it. So that's what started it. And, we kept everything very secretive for a very long time. No one knew what we were working on. And we're doing something very similar right now. We have something in the plans, or we're kind of broadcasting it now. But no one knows what we have. But we have something really cool in the works, and we'll probably announce it at San Diego Comic-Con this year.
Oh, very cool. So with a third thing, you'll have
a third thing. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Very cool.
And you mentioned accuracy, and that's been something that's been, obviously something that's very important to you guys, kind of across the board, and has been since day one. You mentioned going through a series of prototypes, but what were some of the things from that original LJN line that were like the focal points, the things that you really wanted to capture with this line? Because now, having held one, it immediately takes me back to, Dave's LJNs and seeing them next to each other. But what were some of the things that you focused on from an accuracy standpoint to kind of capture that?
A few things. The weight of it, the size of it, making sure that it's being produced with the correct rubber. Those are the big things. But then also TTD went in and made sure that the looks and everything was very accurate, with an LJN feel.
Yeah, and they really do. My mother loves to tell everyone the story every time the LJNs come up, but I once gave her a legit shiner with Andre the Giant. Like I was a
Yeah.
little kid, I wanted her to wake up and play with me, and I was like, "Mom," and I bopped her in the face with it and gave her like a full black eye. And the first time that I got hands on the new Andre the Giant, literally the first thing I thought of was like, "Oh, I can't wait for Mom to see this."
Yeah. Yeah, I remember even seeing them kind of in package and like giving me the chance to like hold one out of package at Bolero back like a year ago, and
Yeah.
I was like, wow, these are legit. This is going to be a big deal.
You're-
Yeah. I I so I had a feeling it was gonna be big when I first got them, and um, when they started to sell, I was still doing my 9 to 5 job doing these things, um, working on major bendies. So I'd literally do my 9 to 5 job, which you know, I had previously worked for a company called Eagle Moss, another company called Zavi. Um, on my way back from WrestleMania 2023, I get a phone call saying Zavi is shutting down. So the company was going away, and I'm on like this Zoom call, and I'm seeing all my coworkers crying and everything. I had to turn off my camera because I was like, "Holy shit!" I wanted to quit, and now they're giving me a parachute. Like I wanted to do Major Benny's full time. I just didn't know like how to get it done because it was making money, but it was just not making enough money for a salary.
yeah.
And I was
Hmm.
like, okay, this is kicking me in the ass now to focus and make sure that this is going to be my full time job. And now I get um, a j- a pretty good severance package where I have time now to focus on just major bendies. Um, so I felt bad because everyone was crying about losing their job, and I'm just like fucking ecstatic. I legit was at the airport. I went and I got myself a pretzel and a beer, and I was so happy. Um, keep in mind, it was probably also like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Very on brand. Very on brand for you.
Very unplanned. Yeah, I know. It was a PBR too. Um,
Oh, it was coming back from
probably.
LA, so it was like noon.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well have been noon.
um, but so I knew I had big rubber guys in the works, and I didn't know it was gonna be a big thing as it was now. But I was like, this is gonna be the solution to give me the salary that I need to do this full time. Um, and it's blown up. Like I remember doing math and saying, if I can at least sell 500 units this month, and try to figure things out, and like I'm like nervous as shit. And now I'm like, if I don't sell 500 units in the first week, I'm upset. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, man. It's crazy when like we've said this time and time again on the show, but when it comes to especially the wrestling figure market, there's a lot of indie toy makers making retro wrestling figures,
Hmm.
and each of them serve a different niche part of the community. But when you guys put something out, it's always just so unique and like different. You've managed to separate yourself from the pack, kind of the same way, honestly, that Zombie has to a
Right.
certain degree, right? Like
Hmm.
where it's like there are other people doing similar stuff, but they're not doing it the way that you guys are doing it. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
speaks volumes when as soon as you get it in hand. Like as soon as you see one of
Hmm.
these in hand, either the bendies or the big rubber guys.
When
It,
yeah
it
when
the proof is
when
in
you
the pudding,
guys
they say, right?
yeah when you guys saw everybody's kind of reaction to them. Now, granted, it was the Major Pod fan base, but when you guys saw everybody's reaction to them at the kind of soft launch slash gathering at Bolero last year, did you guys immediately think like, okay, we did it, or was it like, let's see what everyone else thinks?
I didn't think we didn't. I was still very nervous at that time. But and it's probably why me and Matt get along so well. Um, we always think the worst. We always plan for the worst. So I was still very nervous. I'm still very nervous now, even though we're in multiple retail stores and we do very well with online sales and everything. I'm always like, this is the week that it just all stops. But
Kanik's doomsday clock. Jesus.
yeah, I mean, I'm Cuban and from New Jersey, so I probably have gold bricks hiding in my closet anyway. So that's my parachute. Nice little Menendez joke for you Jersey fans.
Nice.
Who is a family friend also. So went to school with his kids. But yeah, so like I'm always thinking the worst, but at that time I wasn't sure. And then we released Demolition, and we probably doubled the sales of Series 1 with Demolition. And I go, this is great. And then we did Series 3, and those numbers just weren't close to Demolitions. And I was like, yep, see, it went away. But I think what happened was when people finally started getting them in hand and seeing that, one thing is to have Matt and Brian in hand, but when you have Demolition in hand,
yeah,
then you have Ric Flair, Macho Man, Sergeant Slaughter. When we start actually shipping it and people seeing the quality and how much it's like the LJNs, that's, I think, was the aha moment. And it was like, oh shit, this is awesome. Oh fuck, I can't get this again now because the pre-order was the order, but it's made to order. Oh shit, look at the prices on eBay. It's like a bunch of aha moments for collectors, and I think that's why we're having the success that we're having. It's part of a formula, obviously. It's like, TTD's great art. We have Brian Beatty doing the sculpting. Matt and Brian, who are professional wrestlers in the business for over 20 years, that gives us access to all these incredible talent, knowing who's free, who's not, and they're willing to work with us because they trust us because of that relationship, that brotherhood of them being on the road with these guys, or almost just ruined a signee, but like we signed someone who's a legend, and they may have never worked with him before, but they've worked with the kids, so the kids can vouch. That's a clue. That's a Blue's Clues for you guys.
Okay. I have ideas. I have thoughts.
Yeah.
Very expensive thoughts.
Yeah. And then there's me. I don't know where I fit in the formula. I'm just an idiot who won the lottery doing all this.
Nah, but I mean, there's
But you've
always
got the experience too in the collector world.
Yeah, and not only that, but like also you're a hustler, man. Like I mean, you're a person that doesn't stop grinding, and that's always been your MO from the first time we met you. It's very evident that like when you put your mind to something, you are tiny but dangerous. You're
tiny but dangerous.
You're a very tenacious
Book jacket
guy.
quote.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I am definitely a hustler. A kid who grew up in Union City. You got to be a hustler, right? It's grew up in a small apartment, 5 family members. We didn't have money for figures, but I found ways to always get money. If it was selling Pogs in the park, trading cards, Pokemon cards. I used to do a lot of weird things.
And
I think
none of it's weird to this. I won't say that. Most of it's not weird to this
most of
audience.
Yeah. But yeah, it's insane, Like I said earlier, I work probably 20 hours a day. I make appointments with people to like hang out, like friends, just like to hang out. Um, and I forget because I'm just in the grind of just like, packing orders or talking to China, doing accounting, um, working on the marketing, getting commercials done. Like sometimes I'm just not available to people and people think that I'm dead or something. But it's like, no, that's not the case. I'm just like really focused on what I'm doing because I'm having fun. Because I don't like accounting because no one fucking does. But not even accountants. But it's
Accurate.
Yeah, accurate.
but it's I know if I get this shit done, I can get onto something more enjoyable.
So,
And I'm looking forward to that.
so speaking of fun, one of the things that has been, I think, incredible about the Big Rubber Guys is the name itself. Like it's like one of those things that like, you know, a not so savvy parent would call the figures back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
oh, those
Yeah.
fucking Big Rubber Guys.
Yeah,
How did
because
you?
they are.
Yeah. How did you guys come up with the name? Did it kind of just kind of come to
That
you guys, or
that was 100% Brian. Um I showed him the prototypes and Matt was like, this is it. We need a fucking name. And we're just like shooting names around. And Brian's like, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? It's fucking Big Rubber Guys.
And there it was.
And we're like, yeah. I'm like, it's gonna be hard to sell that to some licenses, but yeah, let's do that. It's genius.
all right? So
And then
so hear me out. It's Big Rubber Guys. Whoa, wait, what?
They're wrestlers.
I am convinced I have issues because we do wrestling and we focus on wrestling. Wrestling is the bread and butter of what we do, but we have the Jay and Silent Bob license, um, and I'm working on expanding our license portfolio with music, movies, TV shows, comic books, comedians, um, all that stuff, and it's weird when you say Big Rubber Guys to someone, and I'm convinced that when I say Big Rubber Guys to a licensor, they don't like that very off put
I
on
mean,
the whole thing
I
like right
still
away.
giggle every time I think of the name. I mean, like it,
I
like it's. There's a lot
See,
of there's a
I
lot of
never,
words in there that make the 10-year-old in me giggle. That's
Yeah.
see, I never got the, I understood that there's an entendre there. I don't, obviously not intentional, but like, I just kind of looked at it as like, they're Big Rubber Guys because they are. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
but also Big Rubber Guys.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you a very good warning, or a challenge. Type in hashtag Big Rubber Guys into Instagram and see what pops up.
Oh yeah, did not think of that.
Yeah.
Not think of
Let me
that.
just tell you, it's not Andre the Giant. There's some other Andres that you don't want to see.
Yes. It's the old adage. So in a previous life, I used to teach social media to real estate agents and luxury real estate agents. And one of the examples I used to use when I was talking about how to apply the appropriate hashtags to their posts, I used to say, all right, I would like somebody in the audience to raise their hand and tell me what you call the most expensive apartment at the top of a high rise. And there would be somebody would raise their hand and they go, the penthouse. I go, yeah, penthouse. Now, do you think that's a hashtag that you'd want to use on your posts? And they'd be like, yeah, why not? I'm like, take out your phone, put in hashtag penthouse and see what comes up. And sure enough, they'd go like, oh, and I'd be like, yeah. That's why you're here, and why why you got to look at hashtags before you use them. You have to make sure it's appropriate for the content you're posting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but seriously, it's a really great name, and I love the dad jokiness of it, and so
Yeah.
Brian being the one coming up with it is
Spot
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to speaking of Matt and Brian.
Yep.
Series 8 has included modern stars for the first time since Matt and Brian, all the way back in Series 1. What led to Ethan Page and Broken Matt joining the roster?
Yeah. So Matt. So actually, okay. So let's go from the beginning. We've been touring around the idea of doing modern day guys for a while. We just didn't know who to start with because we knew that there was going to be some backlash. And shocker, there was. Uh, but we knew that there was going to be some backlash, so we were going to just try to like slowly start adding guys in. And the original plan was Matt Hardy because he was free, and Matt is in that gray area of being a legend, but also being a current day guy. Even though he really doesn't fit in with the LJN style, he is still considered a legend. Well, I at least consider him a legend.
Definitely.
He could have gotten one of those Jax ones back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a current day guy. He was available. He knows exactly what we do. And I think he actually reached out asking for a bendy.
Okay.
And that's another cool thing about having the success that we've had. Probably we've done over hundreds of figures, and sold thousands of figures uh in the last 3 years. But now we have that reputation of wrestlers coming to us for contracts instead of us having to chase the wrestlers. Um, so I'm pretty sure he came and reached out to Broski and asked him about a bendy, and I think we discussed and said, let's do a big rubber guy. I think that's how it went down. And we negotiated and we gave him a contract, and the plan was to just have Road Warriors with Matt Hardy. And then Ethan Page called me and said, I'm free. I want to do a bendy. And I said, holy shit, let's not do a bendy. And he got a little butt hurt, I think. I said, because I want to do a big rubber guy review instead. And I said the reason why is because we have Matt Hardy, and you guys had that whole thing with AEW. It would be cool to have you guys now in two different companies, and bringing you guys back, and you guys can do some cool things on social media and all that stuff. And that's how that came. So we kind of just we signed Ethan, and then next day we start working on the design. And then I think 4 days later we had the prototype in hand.
Wow. The turnaround time
The
on these
turnaround is
still
wild. Yeah.
Like I still like. I know you're not, full of it. Like I know you're this is actually how you do it, but it's we've talked to so many people, and just like the fact that you guys turn around these prototypes so fast, like just blows my mind every
Well,
time.
it goes back to the Ric Flair
Exactly.
Bendy
The Ric
story.
Flair thing, yeah. Actually, that Ric Flair thing, and then nails we did in a month.
It's just crazy. It's just absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's it's just we have. I call us the Avengers of toy making because we got a good group of people who are passionate and enjoy what we do. So like while others are just so focused on making money, we're focused on producing the best product possible. And just we say that and then say the money will come eventually.
Mhm.
And a good example of that is the Bulldogs that have been delayed a few months now. The reason why it was delayed is because we had to redo the molds 2 or 3 times because we didn't want to rush it and
Mm.
get it out to customers and it be a bad product because there was problems with the eyes, then there was problems with the height, um there was problems with the mold, I think, shrinking their heads. um so every time we change the molds are very expensive. We paid for that. So that's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So every time um we redid it, that I'm like, there goes the GP again, there goes the GP again, there goes the GP again. Like we probably broke even after we ship it, and we still haven't shipped it. It's now hitting our warehouse. I also have a new warehouse. So I'm slowly phasing out from doing all the shipping myself.
It's not coming out.
Nice.
It's not just coming to your driveway anymore.
No, my neighbors fucking hate me. Um, I don't even think they know what I do. I keep it that way. I don't want to talk to anyone. I'd rather be the antisocial guy who drinks beer with pallets around him.
That bald asshole next door, he just keeps drinking and getting boxes. What's going on over there?
Um, but yeah, so it's like we would rather put out a really good product and have customers happy than making money. And I think that will help us make more money in the future because we now have gained people's trust and know when you work your ass off and you decide to reward yourself with a figure and you're spending the money that you spend on a figure, you're gonna get in return quality, and something that you'll enjoy. Um, and then once again, we really enjoy what we're fucking doing.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom and pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at chubsywubsy.com. That's CHUBZYWUBZZY.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
And now, back to the show.
So based on the reaction to Matt and Ethan, do you think that can people expect to see more modern wrestlers in this line, or what's the gauge looking like so far on that?
Yeah, so we're definitely gonna do more modern day guys. Um, and I'm gonna say this as a warning to all the dedicated LJN collectors. We are not stopping legends, right? We're still gonna be focusing on uh, the guys that everyone wants to see. If I get one more email asking about Bad News Brown, I am gonna jump out my fucking window. Um, we're gonna still do that, and we're just adding on to the collection now. So every series will still continue having the guys that everyone wants. It's just now we're gonna throw in some of those uh modern day people, and it's not gonna be for every series. It's probably gonna be 1 or 2 series a year or something like that. I say that now, things may change. Um, but that's the plan as of now. Um, and we already have some modern day guys that we really want to work with, um, as big rubber guys signed and they're on the schedule. We have everything planned out for 2025 already. So
Nice.
like when Matt always comes to me like, we gotta bump someone or we gotta add into the series this person, and I go, shut the fuck up, go in the corner, go write it in your book 100 times. I will not bother Kanik and ask to rush someone because everything is planned. That's it. It's set in stone. That's what we're doing. And I say that because it gives us. I like having a game plan so we know where we're going, and we don't have to then rush something.
So, seen a bunch of classic tag teams
Yep.
in the line. Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors coming out soon, up for pre-order now. Will tag teams continue to be single-carded, or will there be tag team style packaging akin to the old LJN style 2-packs?
So we've thought about doing the tag teams for a while, the tag team boxes. And I'm going to be very honest on why we haven't done that, the boxes. It's just my OCD. I already did it with the single carded. I don't want to ruin the packaging organization with a box. It's really just my OCD. There's really no excuse.
Hey, that's a fair answer.
Nope. As one of the more anxious, awkward, specific, most likely OCD people on the planet too, I totally get it. Like,
Okay, thank you.
pops stay in boxes because you can stack them, like, in their boxes.
I mean, we changed the bubble.
I
and
do.
that
I love the new bubble.
I do
Great
too.
decision.
And I have one right here. So on the bottom of the bubble, there's I don't even know what to call it, a curvage that allows you to stand.
So it can stand up. I love
Yep.
that
Yep.
so much.
So you can stand the figure on your shelf or hang it with the hang tag.
I also love that it's flat. The front is flat, so it can be signed easily. Like, it's
Yeah. But the reason why I had it designed this way, and thank God I got an A in honors geometry in high school, it's because if I flatten this whole thing even more, so like what everyone was suggesting me to do, that would piss off my OCD so bad because it just completely changes the bubble.
Yeah.
So this, if you put it side to side from an old bubble, big rubber guy, you can't really tell.
Yeah, it's just that little channel on the bottom.
Is that little channel. So I do a lot of things that are good, but it's also just me being selfish for myself.
Well,
which is helpful because I am a collector. So
I was gonna say, but like,
that's part of the insight there. But speaking of adding new things to the line, you recently added stands that work with the original LJNs as well as what you guys are doing. So outside of the stands, are there plans to add maybe some more accessories to the line?
Yeah, we just spoke about that today with Matt. It's just it's in the works. It's just going through the proper channels.
Very cool.
That's my vague answer.
Vague answers are fine.
Yeah, nothing wrong with vague answers.
It's a soft yes. It's like what we like to call a soft yes on the podcast.
Soft yes.
It gets everyone thinking. It's like, well, what did he mean by that?
Well,
I go vague. It's vague enough.
I don't. One, I like to look very secretive.
Yeah, until you get to a live event and Matt has too many beers and he starts telling everybody who the wrestlers that are coming next. That's usually the.
That's exactly his case.
And Saugus coming up.
I am so happy that he's not allowed to drink because he got stem cells,
Oh,
and he's not allowed to drink for 30 days. I'm like, great, we can make it to San Diego Comic Con without you blabbing something.
we love you, Matt. Love you, buddy.
Even Eric's oldest daughter, my niece, goes. "Oh, so we were at White Plains for the WWE house show, and I'm taking a selfie, and I'm like, yeah, I've been told I'm not good at this. She goes, yeah, do you have that picture where Matt Cardona said you couldn't take a selfie? I'm like,
Well, Matt
yes,
makes
I
fun.
do.
Matt makes fun of my photo taking abilities every day because of my
Well, I had
shaky
Matt
hands.
and Giancarlo at the same time, so
Yeah, you were like a small man in a forest.
yeah.
Next to those two.
Well, that, and it was just getting it from literally both sides of the photo.
It's true.
So we definitely don't want to forget about the product that started it all. The first major Bendies subseries was released recently enough, but how did the Extreme Bendies come about?
Extreme Bendies was Brian's pet project. He just really wanted to pay homage to his fandom of ECW. So we decided to create this Extreme series lineup. And it's cool. Brian's just really good friends with all these guys now from that era. I actually went over his house the other day to watch the AEW pay-per-view, and it's me and Tommy Dreamer just eating Taco Bell on his couch. But
Wild.
yeah.
Is he like a Crunchwrap Supreme guy? I put him as
Oh,
like a Crunchwrap Supreme.
I actually witnessed Tommy Dreamer eating his first Crunchwrap Supreme, and the man was so happy. I was happy for him. And
Was it
then,
the one with the big Cheez-It? Or
no, so then I told him, I'm like, there's one with a Cheez-It that's in the center, and it comes out next week, and I'm like really excited for it. I have the app ready. I have the reminder. I'm getting it early access. Everything. He just looked at me. He's like, "You gotta get your priorities straight."
I'm just trying to enjoy this Crunchwrap Supreme.
Yeah.
You're over here talking about a giant Cheez-It.
Yeah.
And Brian's probably like, why is there Taco Bell in my house?
No, he was the one who ordered it.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna say,
wow.
are you kidding me?
Yeah.
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 I forget going way back. There was one episode. I want to say it was one of the Fig Fed ones, like going way back, where Brian was trying to sell everybody on Mark and Matt on what to order because they were at his house, and he was like, "Why don't we just do taco?" And it spiraled into an entire like pitch of him trying to get everybody to order Taco Bell.
I mean, I love Taco Bell, so don't
Yeah.
cheesy gordita crunch for life.
So you don't have to hard sell me either. I'll
No.
absolutely.
No, I had Taco Bell today. I had the cheese Crunchwrap Supreme.
Yeah, I'm
Nice.
I'm looking forward to the new Crunchwrap next week. So Major Bendies, are you guys going to kind of continue down the single release route, or will there be more series or group releases in the future?
Yeah, so we're not slowing Major Bendies down at all. It's a little weird because the company's called Major Bendies and then we have a product called Major Bendies. So the company itself is not slowing down. We're probably speeding up. The actual product, the 5-inch figure style that we have, we're doing actually there's 4 to 6, I think, every month for a while we were doing. And now we're just taking it a step back. We're gonna alternate the months between Big Rubber Guys and Major Bendies, and then we're gonna throw into the mix our third line and see how that goes. And if it goes as well as I expect it to go, then we're gonna create a new formula of how we're gonna do everything, because we don't want to overwhelm people, because we know from my aspect of my view of I'm a collector. This is my disposable income on this hobby that I have. Um, what can I afford, right? And I understand not everyone's gonna be a completist. We don't expect anyone to be a completist, but we do want people to still be able to enjoy our products. And the best way to do that is not by um, trying to milk someone dry, right?
Yeah.
You got to keep things
Hmm.
very affordable and fun, and that's what we're trying to do. Um, and we don't want to be throwing out bendies, um, big rubber guys, and I'll call it Project X, uh, um, all in one shot in 1 month, and that becomes you know pretty expensive, because big rubber guys alone are $50 a piece.
Yeah.
Bendies are 35. We don't have an exact price point for this new one, but it just starts adding up, and it's hundreds of dollars um, every month, and it's just unfair for you.
Not to mention, I
Yeah.
mean, you're competing with everything else that's out there. Not
Right.
even
Hmm.
just wrestling stuff. Like there's so much crossover between the fandoms now. You got GI Joes, McFarlane, Marvel Legends, Star Wars stuff. I mean,
Right.
it's we're if they say it's either feast or famine, we're definitely in the feast phase
For sure.
of the bell curve here. But
Yeah.
That that and it's nice to, like, even whenever you listen to the podcast or whenever you're on a podcast, it's always like that message from Matt and Brian and from you, where it's like, don't be a completist. Like, we're not forcing you to,
Yeah.
which is a great thing to hear from a business. Is like, no, you don't have to get everything that we make. Like,
Yeah.
get what you want to get.
Yeah. And, you know, um, get what you want to get. Don't feel like you have to be a completist. And, if you have a rule that, because I know everyone has these crazy rules, and I have the crazy rules as well. If you just don't like something, just don't get it, and that's it.
Hmm.
yep.
And there's people who come to me at shows now, and they tell me that they, you know, they don't want to offend me by saying that they don't like something. Tell me, because then I can learn from that and do better next time. And I always, I use the Steve Jobs quote a lot. I don't even know if it's Steve Jobs. I heard Steve Jobs say it. He might have stole it from someone else. Maybe Bill Gates said it. But you can please you can please some of the people some of the time. So it's like, I'm not gonna always be hitting home runs and making everyone always happy. Um, Here's a Wayne's World joke also. Not even the Beatles made everyone happy, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's true.
So
No, it's true. It's good to live by. You can't make everyone happy all the time, but you can make some people happy some of the time.
Hmm.
yep,
So
It's a great way to go about it.
yeah. So speaking of someone who's made us all happy and changed at least two lives in this conversation, um, Major Bendies have made the first jump outside of wrestling, um, and we've talked about this.
yeah.
How did the upcoming Jay and Silent Bob Bendies come about?
Um, so Kevin Smith had announced a line with someone else on
Plastic,
Twitter.
yeah, plastic meatball.
Plastic,
Yeah, the
yes,
Kenner guys.
Yeah,
yeah,
Shouts to the wonderful folks at Plastic
yeah.
Meatball.
Shout out to Plastic Meatball.
yeah. So I actually met them at PowerCon, I believe. But yeah, so he had announced a partnership with them, and I had just responded to his tweet saying, you know, these look great. I'm going to be a customer, but I really think you should sign a deal with Major Bendies. And like the next day, I got a message from his agent, um, and we just started talking, and like, I sent samples to Kevin and Jason Mewes, and they were fans already of the product. Allegedly, I don't know. Um, I always hear people say, I'm a fan, and I never believe anyone.
We exist. We are out there,
Yeah.
Ken.
Yeah, I mean, I see
Jesus.
the sales. I know there's people who are fans, but so we just came up with a deal. I'm, obviously me being uh, a Jersey boy, I was really excited. I actually went to film school because of Kevin Smith. I also dropped out of film school because of Kevin Smith. Um, I did not. That wasn't because of Kevin Smith, but it's a nice little joke. Um,
If you know, you know.
exactly. But yeah, so I went to film school. I went to Montclair State University on a full ride for film. And what got me in was uh, I wrote a whole thing about why Kevin Smith inspired me, and then I included my portfolio and the reels and everything. And um, I didn't pursue that career in film, but then I graduated in 2012. Like what? I guess it's over 10 years now. I'm making film. I'm making figures of the guy that inspired me to do film. So it's really cool. Um, but yeah, that's how it kind of came about. And then the first series I decided it has to be Clerks. So we did Jay and Silent Bob, um, in the black and white.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very
awesome.
very cool, very very cool. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to speak for Dave, but
Mhm. Well, so it's funny. You have someone who went to Montclair, Eric,
Yep.
and me who went to film school because of Clerks. I went to Rowan, and it was just one of those things where I was like, yeah, if knowing the story behind Clerks and following it, and then Mallrats and all that stuff,
Yeah.
like that was like, hey, if this guy from the same state who
Yeah.
basically has lived in a video store and all that can do this, like I can at least give it a shot. And it was funny. There was early on, and I want to say like my sophomore year was when Dogma came out on DVD, and VHS, and he was doing a signing at the Willowbrook Mall and at
Oh
the
wow.
Suncoast. My dad came and got me, and we went to the Willowbrook Mall, and there's a picture of Kevin and I. And I've been to a Vulgarthon. I've been to the theater. I've been, of course, been to the
Yeah.
store on both coasts when it was in LA too. But yeah, like recently, my fiance and I went to the theater, and he did a Q&A about Batman Returns afterwards.
I
Like it was
wanted to go
great.
to that. I wanted to go to that actually.
We would have
Um,
given you a ride.
yeah. I yeah, it's weird when you half my job requires now me traveling and I don't drive.
Mhm.
Um, but
that's what they invented Uber for, and now it's a
Yeah,
business expense.
oh,
it's
thank
true.
you. Someone understands my life. Just write it off.
Just write it off, man.
Hmm.
Business
um,
expense.
but yeah, that was like my point of view as well. It's just like this guy from New Jersey made it in this career. I could do the same, and we're very much the same way. We're just nerds. We're like Woody Banner.
Hmm.
So that was my whole point of view. Which just when I got into the actual film school, it wasn't. I kind of just lost all uh passion for it, I think, and I think it just wasn't there. I loved the screenwriting stuff, and I took all the screenwriting classes still. I think I just wanted to write dick and fart jokes.
I
See,
mean,
the writing was always the hardest for me, especially coming up with endings. But the editing was what, and like trying to figure out, all right, how can I make this look fun, or what can I
Yeah.
do to make this look cool or different, or what's something that like I don't know that I could do that puts my stamp on this. So once the pandemic rolled around and we started doing this, I was like, I can edit. Like I know how to do that. And I just started, that really was what got me back into it. And now, you know, I enjoy putting weird unboxings together with.
Avant-garde cold unboxings with cold openings. It's great. I
Yeah,
look forward to them now all the time. It's the best.
yeah,
But
yeah. If I can't do it, like, I'm like disappointed if I can't come up with a cold open for it.
well, speaking of global phenomenons like Kevin Smith,
Yes.
um, Dave, you have an interesting story that I don't know if our listeners, I know Kanik knows about this, but
Yeah, the first person I texted or DM'd. But when I was in recently in Paris, went to England and Paris, went to a comic shop called Album Comics in Paris. Great shop, nice big comic shop. They have bilingual comics. Like, it was really cool. I bought Watchmen in French
Oh, that's
because
cool.
where else am I going to get Watchmen in French? Like that,
Right.
I was like, let me get the greatest graphic novel of all time in
Yeah.
this small. It's like a tiny version of it. It's really cool. But then I'm looking through the figures and I'm seeing, like, Four Horsemen stuff and NECA stuff, and I'm like, oh, here's, that's cool. Like, local stuff has made it
Yeah.
this far. Super Seven, all different things, and then there's Major Bendy's Sergeant Slaughter and Big Rubber Guy's Sergeant Slaughter just sitting there, and I'm like, yo, this rules. I got to send this to Kanik.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to know that something you've made has literally a worldwide appeal?
It is. I was like, first of all, thank you for sharing that with me because I was so cool. Um,
Yeah, I popped huge when I was like, Christina, look what's here. And she's like, oh, that's your friends. Nice. Like,
yeah, I quickly sent it to Matt and Brian. I'm like, yo, we're fancy. We're in Paris. Um, uh, it's a little surreal. Like I I went to Forbidden Planet in New York with my brother. Um, he had just came off from doing a panel at the Wall Street Journal for his company, and then we went to get some food, and then went to Forbidden Planet to shop around, and there was like a whole section for Major Bendies there too, and it was just so cool because it's like I got to witness everything that my brother does and works hard for at the Wall Street Journal panel, and then we go to a comic shop, and my brother sees my work on the shelves. Um, so it's cool that we're reaching all these new avenues. I don't know how those people in France got those figures, um, but I'm assuming someone's placing bulk orders here in Jersey, like in the United States, and shipping it to them. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
that is insane. And it had me wondering, like, where else are we that we just don't know?
ooh, that's a good question. If
hmm
because we do have some listeners in other parts of the world, uh,
yeah,
that shouts to our which is weird for us to say too, the people that listen to us globally. Thanks for tuning in.
hmm
But
yeah. Toy Farce is who told me about that shop.
a mission
Oh,
for all of you guys who are out there outside of the United States. Go to your local comic shops. Go to your local toy stores. Let us know if you see Big Rubber Guys or Major Bendies, and clap back. Send it to Kanik. Send it to us.
oh,
hmm
Let's see how far they've gone out there into the world. That's a
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
little
It's always
mission.
neat to see, like, what is anywhere or what's popular anywhere or what shows up anywhere. Because, like, there's the things you expect, right? You expect to see,
yeah.
like, Marvel Legends. You expect to see McFarlane. You expect to see He-Man. But, like, then
It
there's a whole bunch of stuff where it's like, wow, this is, like, big everywhere.
it's insane to me because one, this was um something I came up with, even though it was me being blacked out. Um, but it's insane that it travels that far because it's literally I've shipped every single order myself from my garage. So it's cool seeing it now end up somewhere else where you don't expect it, or You know, I can tell you, I didn't sell to Forbidden Planet, um, or I didn't sell to France because I would have remembered that putting the label, but I sold it to a distributor who then they probably ordered it from, um, and it's just like connecting the dots is just so cool. Like, how did this? That was an idea from either my mind, Matt's mind, or TTD's mind, or a group effort. Go from our minds to on paper to a 3D visual to being mass produced, being shipped to my garage, and then from my garage going out into the world to other people where you know it's on shelves in New York City, it's on shelves in Paris. People take them to all these conventions now and get them signed. The people that the figures are based off of come and hug me and thank me because they signed so many of these at conventions. Probably, you know, we've done the first Danhausen figure, we've done the first Conrad Thompson figure, we've done the first Nick Gage figure, first Effie, uh,
Allie
you
now.
know, Alley
Yeah.
Cat, SDL, um, a lot of people's firsts, but then also people who haven't had figures in such a long time. Um, Chavo, Jeff Jarrett, Brian Pillman.
Did
Uh,
Eddie Edwards have one beforehand? Other than the Power Town that's coming.
yeah,
He had a Toy Biz?
yeah. We don't
Okay.
have Eddie Edwards in the line yet, but I
Oh.
can probably. He's a very nice friend who texts me all the time now. So I just sign people who are my friends now too. Also,
I
so it's
just
like,
assumed, there's
Yeah.
so many.
I kind of,
It's the system, right?
yeah, it's the system. So it's also people. My buddy says, "Are you friends with these wrestlers, or are they just trying to use you for money?" I go, "I think it might be both. I'm not sure."
Which is a fine answer. It's a fine
Yeah.
Yeah,
answer.
it's totally okay. It's totally valid.
But yeah, it's just it's very rewarding doing everything what we're doing, and it's just once again we're having fun.
Well, listen, before we let you go, as you know, we do have a tradition on the show here where we have a final
Mm-hmm.
question that we ask all of our guests. Since you are a repeat offender here, we have
Oh my.
a new question for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we let you go and do our plugs and everything. So, Dave, would you like to fulfill your role as this podcast's James Lipton and ask Kanik our final question?
Why, yes, I would. So, Kanik, since you've already answered the final question we ask all of our guests, we have prepared a new final question for you. Your new final question is, if budget and availability didn't matter, and you could fantasy book one series of Big Rubber Guys and one series of Major Bendies, who would be included? And I actually came up with an extra parameter if you want.
Okay. Yeah. Give me the extra parameter because I was
All
gonna
right.
throw what in.
2 legends, 1 modern, 1 major pod personality.
Okay. I'm gonna throw in a third thing after that. Well,
Okay.
so Big Rubber Guys, Legend, Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Um, and I would go. I'm gonna cheat. Hulk Hogan and Iron Sheik
Okay.
Okay.
as the 2 legends. 2 moderns. This is where I'm going to cheat. The Rock, because he's considered a modern now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again.
Fair.
And then I would probably do I'll do Roman Reigns. Just because he has the new Jordans coming out, and I like those. It was either that or John Cena. Um, and then for the major pod guy, it would be Hornswoggle.
Awesome.
So that's for big rubber guys. For Bendies, honestly, it would probably be the same. Just because the major pod guy, I wouldn't put Hornswoggle. He's had enough. I gave him 3 figures already. Major pod guy, I would say you know what? I'm gonna say Brian Beatty. Not really a major
go.
Okay.
pod guy, but he's a sculptor for Bendies, and I think he's done such incredible work with everyone that he's worked with. Super Seven, um, he's uh, everywhere. Mattel, Hasbro, the guy is a fucking legend in the field, and the fact that we've got him working on our stuff is incredible, and I'm super grateful for everything that he's done for us. But I want to see him sculpt himself, because I'm certainly not paying someone else to do it for me.
Fair enough.
That's good. It's good. I like
And
that.
then, and then I'm gonna throw in a third thing. If I can get any license to be a big rubber guy,
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
it would be Power Rangers.
I that kind of figured as much.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what though? Look, just throwing this out there into the ether. I'm sure you saw the press release. Hasbro licensed that out to Playmates, but the press release read a very specific way. It said that the press release was for kid-focused collectible or kid-focused toys.
I am very well aware of that.
So
Hmm.
Don't worry.
just
I
putting
I'm
that out
trying to
there.
do I'm trying to do everything I can do to get that license. Even got a fucking tattoo on my arm.
Yeah, I mean, big rubber guys of Power Rangers would honestly be
Hmm.
out of this world. And then like if you could do because like what like a big like a
And it
normal
makes like a lot of sense
but like
too.
a normal big rubber guy, right? Like a normal size one. They're like what? They're about 10 inches tall.
No, big rubber guys are 8 inches,
8 inches.
which fit in with the 8 inch scale of the old figures that they
Yeah.
had,
So if you
in the triangle boxes, and I would just recreate those triangle boxes.
I was gonna say you could do that, and then you can do like 10 or 12-inch ones of the monsters and the Zords and stuff. Go a
Exactly.
little bit bigger. Yeah,
Yep.
that would be amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. And it pays homage to kind of like the Sofubi roots of like the tokusatsu, Super
Yep.
Sentai stuff. Like
Mhm.
there's so much brand synergy there.
And I
What
think
an opportunity.
it's filling in the hole of the collector's market right now for Power Rangers, because the Lightning Collection is on ice.
Yep.
Um, the 3 zeros are nice, but it's not really it is a collection. It's just
And they're also really expensive.
they're
Like
very expensive.
very, very expensive.
I think they're close to $200 a piece. Not everyone can afford
Yeah, it's like
that.
a hot toy, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hot toy price.
yeah. I say that well.
Oh, I know.
All my hot toys
Yeah.
and stuff, and my whatnot stuff that I gotta pack. But yeah, it's just I think there's a huge market for that, and I might be just biased because I'm a huge Power Ranger fan, but I think I'm wearing my collector's hat and saying we can get that done.
Well, good. Well, I knocking on wood. Everything fair on that one, buddy.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
You're not the only Power Rangers fan in the company. That's
yeah, that's the other thing, right?
Yeah,
Well, Kanik, thank you again so much for joining us tonight, man. Like like we said at the top, it's always a pleasure having you on and watching Major Bendies kind of flourish into where you guys are at now. It's just I'll say it. I said it once. I'll say it a million times. It's amazing to watch the ride. Please let our followers know Where can they find out? Where can they get all their updates on the Major Bendies brand? Where can they pre-order Big Rubber Guys? Where can they find you on Instagram and on the internet?
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to say thank you for having me on. And I'm sorry, Ethan Page canceled on you again. But
Oh man.
but yeah, MajorBendies.com. We have Series 8 of Big Rubber Guys available for pre-order. It's Ethan Page, the Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk, and Matt Hardy. Follow us on Instagram, Major Bendies. If you want to follow me and see my crazy antics of the 12 pallets a day I get, and me doing CrossFit by putting everything away by myself, and yet still being a short fat dude. It doesn't make sense. It's Kanik 89. And I'm also on Whatnot now, selling stuff, selling Major Bendies. So if you want some stuff signed that I corner people at bathrooms at conventions to sign, and you want them at a good price, you can follow me on Whatnot, where I put them for sale.
Listen, go buy figures from Kanik. He needs to be able to afford the albuterol that fuels his lungs and allows him to climb into the back of trucks. So, like, please go on Whatnot. Albuterol is expensive.
I keep on saying the one thing I missed from my 9-to-5 job was the health insurance.
Yeah.
Cobra is expensive.
Yes, it is.
And albuterol is even more expensive, and from one asthmatic to another.
I said this on. I went on Hornswoggle's podcast. I forgot how it came up, but I was like, yeah, the one thing I missed about my 9-to-5 job was the health insurance. But my plan now is just to marry a nice teacher or nurse and get onto a health insurance plan.
There you go. Goals.
Yeah.
Life goals.
So,
sell figures, marry up.
So if you have any female listeners in the age
Yeah, anyone in the Union City, New Jersey area that is looking to date a very successful we're now a dating show, Dave. We're now a dating show.
Oh,
Kanik is one of the most eligible, if not the most eligible bachelors we know. You could travel the world with this guy. Maybe he'll even introduce you to Gordon Ramsay at some point. You know, he's got all the connections. Wrestling, just he's got everything. He's got everything you're looking for,
except height. I'm just looking for someone with health insurance that I can get on your plan.
Oh man! All right.
If you would like to adopt Ken,
yeah, that's also an option. You can also adopt him. He doesn't take up a whole lot of space. It's just he's very portable. It's great. It's a great option for your to
that's why Matt keep me around.
To add joy to your life. Before this goes any further off the rails, Dave, please get us out of here. Just.
Remember, the pre-order is the order. Pre-order and watch each Ethan Page on Sunday.
Thank you, dear listener, for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azari, the golden voice behind our intro. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies. Find more about them both in our show notes.
Follow us on social media at AIC_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Stop by and say hi, show us your toy hauls, and share your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.